Mexican. The cartel and Mexican military are going to duke it out for the next couple of days. Once the Mexican military becomes overpowered by the cartel, because the cartel has U.S. military-grade weapons that we give them in exchange for them giving us drugs, someone's going to need to step in on behalf of Mexico, and it's going to be the United States of America. And what are we going to do? We're going to go into Mexico, and we're going to liberate them just like we liberated Venezuela and stole all of their oil, except this time, we're going to see the privatization of their natural resources like lithium, petroleum, silver, and oil, which we are going to benefit off of. And we're also going to see ideas of socialism and communism go straight out the door, which America does not like. The cartel and Mexican military are going to duke it out.
In the world, everybody has here, Mexico is done. In my opinion, Mexico is done. Why? Because if anybody decides to travel to Mexico after what occurred today, you got to be out of your fucking mind. In my opinion, the tourism in Mexico is completely shot right now. It is very, very evident that the government of Mexico is completely lost control and is completely incompetent. They are not able to handle what is currently going on in the streets of pretty much all over the country of Mexico. I mean, if anybody decides to vacation at one of these resorts in Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, listen, you guys are out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind because it is completely done. Shit has gotten from bad to worse. I shot a video a couple hours ago. I thought, worse was over. It's getting worse. They are now issuing ultimatums. The cartel are now issuing ultimatums. Meet our demands or else we're going to enter your homes and hotels tonight and begin people, citizens, and tourists alike. This is fucking ridiculous. They're issuing ultimatums. And guess what? As it looks right now, they're looking to follow through with these ultimatums. Listen, there's shit happening all over Mexico. In Cancun, there's shootings and blockades all over the streets. Carjackings erupting in what we consider one of the most popular destinations in the world. Everybody loves the resorts of Cancun, right? Everybody loves the resorts of Puerto Vallarta. Been there dozens of times. Absolutely love it. After what's happened today, never even consider flying in that country again. In regard to Puerto Vallarta, we know what's going on in Puerto Vallarta. It's up in fucking flames. Buildings, cars, blockades. I mean, everything is on fucking fire. Gas stations are on fire. I mean, they're having shootouts in the middle of the fucking streets, right? Between cartel members and the Mexican military. They just killed 2 National Guardsmen and injured another one in an ambush. I mean, they're not fucking around. They're not fucking around. It got bad. As far as Guadalajara Airport goes, I talked about this. Passengers are stranded. Flights are suspended indefinitely. No flights in and out of Guadalajara Airport. So guess what? If you want to leave the country for your safety, you're fucking stuck. You can't go anywhere. I mean, these videos are out of control. And just when you think shit can't get worse, you know what I mean? More information comes out. In regard to the country of Mexico, schools are closed nationwide as of tomorrow. The entire statewide system is shut down. All public events are canceled indefinitely until further notice, and that is throughout the country of Mexico, not just in Jalisco and in Puerto Vallarta, it's throughout the country. We all know that the National Guard is actively engaged in shootouts throughout the streets of Puerto Vallarta and Jalisco with these out-of-control cartel members, right? And the U.S. Embassy, listen, they have a shelter-in-place order throughout Puerto Vallarta, Guadalajara, Nuevo Leon, and Guerrero, pretty much in major cities throughout Mexico, right? Shelter-in-place, do not fucking move, okay, until we tell you to move. In Canada, out of all people, right? Guess what they did? They're mimicking, right? Exactly what the United States are doing. Identical warnings. Both countries are pulling flights. No more flights in and out of Mexico to and from Canada. Now, again, shit is getting worse and worse and worse. Now, I want to talk about the governor, right? Pablo Limas. Now, this governor here, listen, they've got Black Hawk helicopters hovering around these fucking cities. They have now mobilized. The Mexican military has now mobilized heavy equipment. Okay, they dispersed them around the streets of Mexico, in these cities to handle the cartel members. It's fucking urban warfare. They're just fucking shooting like the Wild Wild West. I mean, you can't make this shit up. But Governor Pablo Limas, he has confirmed that the military surge, quote unquote, is part of a statewide code red emergency designed to prevent the cartel from following through on its threats as far as entering hotels and homes, right? And of urban warfare, because they know that these fucking guys mean business. I mean, I listen, I don't know how else to fucking say it. I mean, shit is mad. They have issued chilling warnings, and listen, in my opinion, they're going to carry through on these warnings. All over a man who pretty much just what he did as far as bringing the dope into the United States and the rest of the world, okay, and everything that's going on, because it blows my mind. And we have people here in the United States that are advocating for, for this country, a government who's turned their back on the Mexican people in favor of these cartel members. And we've got people on the streets of the United States that are saying we are stolen. It just fucking blows my mind. Okay, the hypocrisy and the stupidity of some people living in our country. Anyway, shit is getting from bad to worse in Mexico. It's getting dark out there. Listen, nothing happens at night. We all know that. And we'll see what happens. But I got a pretty good feeling that tomorrow morning, what I'm telling you right now, listen, it's going to get worse. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Please like, follow, and share. Be blessed. Ciao for now. Kaz here,
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to you hopeful elect Akim, pushing this truth, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth, waking up the rest of the elect, so Yahweh Shai can return speedily here very soon, which he will, and save us up on out of here. And I pray to Yahweh Shem Yashai that I'm one of those men. Okay. I showed you those two clips, those two TikToks, man. All right. Because hey, Mexico, one of the major cartels in Jalisco, Mexico, their main guy just got unalived by the Mexican military, All right, it takes this long, all right, for a Mexican military, for just any military, in their own country to take out a cartel member, not just any cartel member, but the head of the cartel member, all right, which he's the head, all right, of the cartel in Jalisco. And, when you're the head and the top dog, you have a lot of front men, you got a lot of men, bodyguards, you got a lot of men that protect you, and, you're able to, you got a lot of defenses, all right. But it takes this long for a military, all right, to take a man like that down, man. All right. Okay. Which I believe this was set up. This is all not a psychological operation, but if I was even supposed to say that, hope I don't get my video taken down, but not a psyop, but just an agenda, or something that these elites of Esau, the so-called white man, want to happen in Mexico. All right. All right, because, hey, Mexico, the people of Mexico, they're all, no matter who you are, you're controlled, all right, you're ruled and have been conquered by the so-called white man, our enemy, Esau, Edom, all right? All right, he controls the whole world, all right? He's not going to let somebody, take office or be in a high position, in his kingdom without him knowing, okay? So the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, these elites of Esau, of the white man, they selected, all right, the Sean Bayer lady, all right, then, the current president of Mexico, okay, which, hey, there was, I think, a whole bunch of assassinations. I don't remember how much, but there was a whole bunch of assassinations, all right, going on, all right, during the Mexican presidential election around that time. A lot of people were being assassinated, all right, people that were nominated or running for the Mexican president. All right, a lot of them were being unalived and assassinated. And Michelle Scheinbaum, all right, which is not even a Mexican. She may have Mexican in her mother's side, but on her daddy's side, all right, she's a JEW, all right, a so-called white person, okay? And she don't act Mexican, or anyway, all right? Because I believe Scheinbaum, isn't even Spanish, all right? I believe it's JEWISH-ish, okay? All right, and the so-called white man allows and sets up and funds these cartels, all right, in Mexico and all around the other Latin countries too, man, not just Mexico, all right. So yeah, the so-called white man, the United States, Israel, whatever, it's all the same thing, okay. The so-called white man, okay. If it be French, American, Israeli, English, German, Swedish, South African, Australian, they're all the same thing, all right? Just different parts of the Dukes of Edom, okay? They set up these cartels. They fund them, they set them up, they prop them up, okay? They prop that man up, that cartel member, that that head cartel member of the cartel that was just unalived in Jalisco, all right? Because, hey, if the United States, they could have went down to Mexico and started, and swept up all the cartel, and cleaned up America, and cleaned up Mexico, all right? But that's not what the white man wants. He wants Mexico to be ran by drug lords, cartel members, these cartels, because the white man in the United States, they benefit off of that, okay? Bringing drugs in the United States for free, having the Mexican bringing drugs for free, and whatnot, for a low price, to just have the Mexican do it, and then we're gonna frame the Mexican as being the bad guy, we're not even touching the drugs, we're just, but we're gonna fund and prop these cartels up in secrecy, like the so-called white man does, like the Bible says. All right, this is mystery Babylon the Great, okay? Because it's a mystery on how this world is ran and controlled. All right. Not very many people in this world know the truth, the absolute truth of what's actually going on around the world, man. It's just the elites of Edom, the Dukes of Edom, all right, and the elect, all right, the Lord's prophets. Those are the only people that know everything, that have the light, all right, that could see, all right, because all Lucifer means is light bearer, okay, so yeah, man, I wanted to show you this, all right. Slakia. Oh, man. Slakia. It says, God damn. Didn't want y'all to see all that, man. It's none of y'all business. This is the U.S. is absolutely arming the cartels using the military capabilities they provided the cartels with as justification for intervention in Mexico. Let me read that again. The U.S. is absolutely arming the cartels and using the military capabilities they provided the cartels with as justification for intervention in Mexico. Mexico's defense secretary exposed that 47% of the 50 caliber cartridges seized in Mexico come from the Lake City Army ammunition plant. Okay. 137,000, move your hand, 50 cal cartridges and 18,000 firearms seized under President Scheinbaum, 78% trafficked, all right, from the U.S. So, yeah, man, all right, the United States is behind these cartels, all right, they fund them, They give them the guns. They give them the ammunition, the power, and the status. All right, and tell them how to do this and how to run your cartels and how to operate things. You know, it's not their. It's not up. The Mexicans didn't come up with this. All right, my people didn't come up with this. You know, and I know why in the spirit, because spiritually, I know our people, for the most part, are we're peaceful people. Okay, our people were peaceful all the way until, ever since, our people have been peaceful this whole time until the so-called white man came over here and colonized Mexico. All right, colonized the Western world, because that's when all the cartels have started. All right, all this madness and wickedness propped up, in these Latin countries and populations is when the white man came over here. Okay, because he started controlling our people in secrecy without even being there. Okay, by passing unjust laws, by controlling things. All right, from behind the scenes. Okay, and like that first TikTok I showed you. Let me see. All right.
The cartel and Mexican military are going to duke it out for the next couple of days. Once the Mexican military becomes overpowered by the cartel, because the cartel has U.S. military-grade weapons that we give them in exchange for them giving us drugs,
Exactly.
someone's going to need to step in on behalf of Mexico, and it's going to be the United States of America. And what are we going to do? We're going to go into Mexico, and we're going to liberate them just like we liberated Venezuela and stole all of their oil, except this time, we're going to see the privatization of their natural resources like lithium, petroleum, silver, and oil, which we are going to benefit off of. And we're also going to see ideas of socialism and communism go straight out the door, which America does not like. The cartel...
Yeah, man. That's the plan. All right, that's the game plan for the so-called white man, the United States, and these elites of the so-called white man. That's what they want. That's what's going on, man. All right, if you want to believe it or not, and we'll see. All right, if we're right or wrong. I'm talking about us men of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because I'm not the only one who sees this. Hey, this man sees it. All right. Hey, this is sounding exactly like what's going on, what happened in the Middle East. All right, war. All right. Chaos, because that's what this devil believes in. The so-called white man believes in, man. All right, order out of chaos. So he fabricates the chaos, he makes the chaos, and he brings his own order out of it. All right, and his order, all right, the solution to all this madness that he fabricated himself, which he's behind, all right, all this himself, is himself taking the U.S. military and going over there in Mexico and solving everything, in the name of justice and freedom and liberation, when really they're just gonna take over the resources and oppress the Mexicans, our people, the Issacharites, all right, even more, and use their natural resources and use the people for free, cheaper labor, all right, because they don't know how to control themselves, we gotta go down there and control, take things over because it's getting too hectic and whatnot, all right. And military law is different from non-military law, Military law is more strict, okay? All right. Okay. And that's what's going to happen, man, all right? Because, hey, we're in the times of war, and that's what Donald Trump is trying to do with Venezuela, okay? Take their oil. That's what he's trying to do with Greenland, all right? And these neighboring countries of the West, Donald Trump in the United States, they're trying to take these countries over for resources because they know World War III is about to happen, and they're trying to gear up for war. And war you need resources, oil, natural resources, all right, metal, people, wood, firepower, all right, food, all that, man, for war, okay? And these are just beginning stages of the United States trying to take over Mexico to start because they know war is about to happen, man, and war will happen, and it will touch the souls of America, okay? So yeah, man, all right, we're in the times of war, okay? Let me get that. Slovakia. Oh, damn, was that what I wanted? No. Yeah, Jeremiah 30 and 5. I knew it was in Jeremiah. Let's just type it in, Jeremiah 30 and 5. I have a lot of precepts lined up. Jeremiah 30 and 5, it says, "For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace." All right. So, yeah, man. I'm just going to read this one and not the next one. But, yeah, we're in the time of war. All right. Not of peace. We're in the time of trembling and fear. All right. Not of peace because, hey, the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is returning. All right. The Lord has to stir up war. All right. And stir up the hearts and the minds and the spirit of these heathens and everybody on earth. All right. For war. For World War III. Because the Lord has to purify this world of its wickedness. So, for the Lord to purify the world of the wickedness, he has to destroy it, burn it, And the Lord is making these people, all right, these wicked people around the world go crazy and go mad so they could destroy themselves. And ultimately, when the Lord returns, he's going to ultimately destroy this kingdom with nuclear fire, all right? He's not going to destroy the whole world, or there's not going to be no more earth, but he's going to destroy this kingdom, all right, with nuclear fire. Because, hey, the so-called white man created the nuclear fire, all right? And the Lord created those so-called white men to make the nuclear missile, okay? Luke 12 and 51, it says, "Suppose ye that I, this is what I wanted. I don't think I wanted this one. Man, I got so many precepts. I might have to make a part 2. I might have to make a part 2. I'm going to read this one. Luke 12 and 51. "Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, but rather division." Okay, so the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, all right? Yahweh Shai, he's not coming to send peace at first. The solution of Yahweh Shai is going to be peace. But at first, he has to divide. He has to separate what's good, what's righteous, and what's wicked. All right. So the Lord, when he's returning, right before he returns, he's going to put the spirit in the minds of these people to cause division. All right. And he's going to make the so-called white man, all right, the devil that the Bible speaks of, start all this. All right. And turn up the notch, his wickedness up a whole bunch of notches. All right. All right. To make these people do so. All right. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house, divided 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So everybody's going to be against everybody. All right. All right. That's why I brought out the scripture. All right. Because everybody, even, amongst our own people, everybody, all types of people, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, whites, blacks, Asians, Indians, Arabs, Africans, everybody's going to be divided against each other. And in this case, the Mexicans, Issachar, are divided against each other, man. All right. Even the white man is divided against each other. All right. So the Lord is bringing division. All right. The Mexican military versus the cartels. Okay. But us men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we know who's behind it. And we know who's behind it. All right. And that's all Yahweh. Or Yahweh Shai. Okay. I don't want that one yet. Let me see. Let me get this one. This is Maccabees, 1 Maccabees 1 and 11. It says, "In those days went the route of Israel, wicked men, all right, cartel members, all right, in this case, Mexican cartels, you know, which are wicked men. They're not righteous men, all right. They worship Santa Muerte, all right, the saint of death, okay. That shit's wicked as fuck, man. Who persuaded many, saying, "Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow." So, hey, our people, took bribes and sided with the so-called white man. All right, because the white man, he went over there to Mexico, and bribed the Mexicans, all right, to form cartels. Okay. All right. And made them and showed them wicked ways. That's why these cartels are wicked, and they're ruling their people, all right, with wickedness, okay, with making them fear, all right, filleting people's faces off their, skin off their face, in the name of Santa Muerte, which is satanic as shit, The Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is not the God of death. He's the God of the living, So, yeah, our people have sided with the so-called white men. And, hey, that Mexican military, the Mexican military isn't as righteous, isn't far from being as wicked too, man. All right. They're not saints either. All right. Okay. Because the so-called white man, he controls both sides. All right. The good and the bad. All right. The right and the left. All right. Of when it comes to politics, and countries and whatnot. Okay. He's behind the Mexican military, or he probably bribed the Mexican military to finally take that man out. And he controls the cartels. All right. Because the white man, he's above the cartels. He controls the cartels. All right. Let me get this. 2 Corinthians 11:14, it says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." So, hey, Satan, all right, the so-called white man, or Esau, Edom, will come to you, looking like a saint, looking righteous, okay? Oh, look what we're doing, we're liberating you, We're coming in the name of liberation and democracy and freedom, saying all these swelling words and good words and softly spoken speeches, but deceive the simple, like the scriptures say, So, hey, like that one guy that I showed you twice, we all know, hey, this is probably going to lead to America going down there and solving everything with liberation and freedom, and taking the resources and oppressing Mexico even more, in the name of false freedom, false democracy. Meanwhile, he's causing these cartels to go crazy by making the Mexican military unalive that cartel member. Because, hey, the Mexican president allows these cartels to run Mexico, So, hey, she's behind it too. Hey, she's cahoots with America and the so-called white man too, because she's a white woman, All right. I don't want that one yet. I'm just gonna get the ones that I want that are relevant right now. Salakia Hakim. Let me get this one. Revelation 12:9, it says, now let's get this one. Daniel 2:42. All right. It says, in the toes, talking about the statue, all right, of gold, silver, and bronze, and partly clay and iron, all right, at the feet, of the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, all right, that Daniel broke down. All right, this is going into the feet. All right, talking about the times that we're in right now, talking about the rulership of the world. All right, it's symbolized as the feet of that statue that Nebuchadnezzar had. All right, the dream that he had of the statue. All right, and that statue's feet were made out of clay and partly iron. Okay. All right, and this is what it means. Okay, and that feet symbolizes the rulership at the end of the world, when right before Yahushua returns, and that rock that destroyed the statue at the feet, that hit the feet and destroyed the whole statue, that rock is Yahushua, because he's the cornerstone. Okay, like the scriptures say. Daniel 2:42, it says, and as the toes of feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So yeah, man, there's a strong side, all right, to the white man ruling the world right now, okay, and there's partly broken sides, man, all right, because hey, the 10 horns, all right, okay, with the 7 heads. So hey, the rulership of the so-called white man is spread out, okay, but its main military base is America. Its religious part is the Vatican, okay. Its control centers in Israel, all right. Its other spread out pieces, all right, of this rulership are in Europe, South Africa, and Australia, all right. You know, but as a whole, the so-called white man is everywhere, because Isaac, his father, blessed Esau with the sword, or the killing instrument, okay, and the fatness of the earth. And he's living out his blessing by being everywhere around the goddamn earth and controlling everything right now, man. There's military bases all throughout the earth, and the so-called, you'll find a white man everywhere, even in Antarctica, you know, and Arctica. From the top to the bottom of earth, everywhere, you'll find a white man. Because this is his kingdom. He's ruling the earth right now. The scriptures say the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked, all right? And he covers the face of the judges thereof, all right? He runs the world right now, okay? And he also runs these heathen nations, all right, by letting them rule, you know, letting it look like they control their own country, giving them their own military, but really the so-called white man runs it. He just doesn't call it, you know, by an English name or anything like that. He just lets, you know, he picks and chooses who's president of Mexico, of Venezuela, of Brazil, of Argentina, of Ghana, of Nigeria, all right, of the Congo, of, you know, and whatnot, you know, etc. Of Canada, all right, he chooses. He controls Mexico, all right, all right. That's what that's what that scripture means, okay? Let me. Not this one. Not Facebook. I don't want no Facebook. Let me get this. Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and knoweth us? All right. Surely the turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, for shall the work say of him that made it, he. All right. So yeah, man. Hey, you know, the Lord has let this white man rule in the way he wants to rule, okay? Okay? And he's doing things in dark, all right, in secrecy, all right? Behind the scenes type stuff, you know? Hiding the counsel of the Lord, all right? As if the Lord doesn't see everything, okay? But the Lord sees everything that this so-called white man has done, is doing, and will do, okay? And he's given, the vision, all right, the eye salve to his prophets. And we see behind the scenes, we see behind, this devil's dark magic, all right? We know his ways. The Lord has revealed unto us how this devil operates. Order out of chaos, all right? He does things in secret, all right? The Lord is revealing what this white man's about, all right, through the Epstein files and whatnot, all right? The Lord is making this devil tell on himself, okay? As iron rusts, so is his wickedness. Hey, we know that the white man, we can't trust him, all right? We can't, don't be by him too long, because we know, he's going to crouch down, come down crouching to you, all right, with peaceable words and innocently, but, with soft words and whatnot, but really, his wickedness is going to show, just as iron shows all the time. His wickedness is going to show, all right? And he has war, in his mind is war, all right? And drawn swords, all right? The Lord has given us, the rundown on this devil, okay? And we see, all right, through this devil's game plan. All right, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, so I'm gonna make a part 2. Hope this is edifying to the elect.